So we have done a lot of budget builds on this channel, and I've come across some pretty decent budget keyboards like the Keychron V series, the Newfie Halo 65. Those have all been pretty good, good build quality. But the thing that always kind of made those not quite hit the mark for me was just due to their lack of customizability. And when I say that, I remember I talked about the Keychron being like, hey, this is great for customizability, but I found one that's actually better. Today we are building out the Boyi GMK67. Now I think this is actually a collab with a different Chinese company, because most of the ones that I see online are the Boyi GMK67. I don't know if GMK67 is just like a generic term for this type of keyboard, but the one that I got, the Boyi, is honestly exactly the same, right? Like if I compare this keyboard to the one that I've seen online, they're exactly the same. So what's so good about this one? This is a $67 keyboard that you can get on Amazon right now, which is in stock in a variety of colors. It comes with a tri-mode hot swap PCB, which, so that means wired 2.4 gigahertz connection, USB dongle, and Bluetooth. It has south-facing LEDs. It comes with a polycarbonate plate that is gasket mounted. Let me say that again, polycarbonate plate that is gasket mounted. Most budget keyboards come with aluminum plates because for whatever reason, and gasket mounted. Not to mention it comes with a full suite of foam. So you get small case foam, you have PCB foam, and you have plate foam. And it comes with pretty decent stabilizers. And the thing that really kind of surprised me the most was the fact that you have the ability to plate mount these stabilizers. So the PCB that comes with it, you can plate mount your stabilizers. So if you don't want to use the stabilizers that come with this kit, you can use a set of Duroc V2s, you can use some owl stabs, whatever you want. If you don't want to use plate mounted stabilizers, you can use PCB screw-in stabilizers. Like already my mind is kind of blown. And this is like basically everything, right? Like if you're gonna build a custom keyboard, this is what you want, right? Because this will allow you to customize it any way you want. So you know what? That's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna customize and we're gonna build one. So today we're gonna be using with this the JWick tactile T1s. I do like these switch a lot. I think they're a relatively thocky tactile switch. They come very well factory lubed, and they feel really, really good, and they're honestly really, really cheap. So if you're looking for a good budget tactile switch, get these JWicks. Very, very good stuff. And for the keycaps that we're just using an Etsy keycap set that I found. They're like a koi theme. I think it fits really, really well with this color scheme. The keyboard that we have today is a lilac color, and I think it'll look really, really pretty. Again, just a simple die sub PBT, nothing crazy. The main thing that I found when opening up this keyboard was, again, it's a plastic case, right? And because of plastic cases, they're just really put together with clips, with the exception being the Keychron where there's screws, but with these, it's just clips, so you're gonna have to pry it apart. The easiest way I found to do this is not to use a credit card or anything, but actually if you put your thumbs on the inside of the case and just kind of push outwards, you can pop the top clips and then get the bottom ones. It's much, much easier. However, I did notice that after you build the keyboard, opening up actually gets harder. So keep in mind that is probably the main downside to this board. Then once you get in, come on, polycarbonate plate, like it's basically begging for a creamy, thocky build, right? So that's exactly what we're gonna do. I decided to change out the case foam because I don't really like the case foam that's in the board. I got some of this, I don't know, like memory foam, and it's relatively thin. I don't know if you guys follow, but Keyboard, that channel has some really good information on what to make, how to make your build like thocky or clacky. So this is a relatively thin piece of foam that is gonna do a little bit more sound dampening than what's currently in there, and it's gonna give us a thocky, thocky build. Now, as far as the stabilizers go, they're really not that bad. I decided that I wanted to kind of take them apart and re-lube them. The lube that generally comes in budget keyboards, I find kind of dries up really, really quickly and is kind of more like a weird paste rather than lube. So I just unclipped these, took them out, took them apart, decided to lube them up. Just, your standard Krytox 205 grade 0, nothing crazy. And I decided to try something that I saw on another video. So I don't know if you guys know this channel, but Mango Keebs, I saw that she did this really interesting mod where she took packing tape and basically layered it with the PCB foam. Now, I'm sure other people have done this too, but this is the first place that I found it. So the keyboard did come with packing foam, and I decided to use that. So I basically just cut out, where all the holes everything should go, and I layered that first, and then the PCB foam on top of that. That then allowed me to put the plate foam on, and then I screwed the plate into that, and then put the stabilizers back on the plate, right? So very simple, nothing too crazy, but I believe that adding this extra foam here should give us a significantly deeper, thockier sound. And yeah, that's just kind of what I wanted to go with for this build. I don't generally build stuff to be super thocky, but quite a bit of padding and quite a bit of foam that I put into this build, but I think it's gonna turn out pretty good. Now, to kind of like modify that tone a little bit, we're gonna be doing a tape mod. So I haven't done a tape mod on a lot of my most recent builds, and to be perfectly honest, that's largely because I've been going for a little bit more clack. Now, the tape mod does kind of like really bring out more of that like foamy sound while giving it some pop. So we're just going to do that here. We're only going to be doing 2 layers. I know a lot of people recommend 3, but I personally feel like 2 layers was probably more than enough. I think the last time that I did tape mod, I only did 1 layer. So this is more layers than we've tried in the past. Yeah, like as I said, this is pour-on gasket mounted. Like there's quite a bit of flex in this keyboard. Again, most budget keyboards come with a aluminum plate, not a polycarbonate plate, and so they're not going to flex, right? The typing experience is just not going to be nearly as good as a keyboard that, is one gasket mounted and polycarbonate plate. So again, this was like super surprising to me, and I thought this was really cool. So, it's just, yeah, this is great. This is just so surprising to me from a keyboard that only costs $67. And when I say $67, I mean $67. That's it, right? Like you only have to pay for switches and keycaps afterwards. Like this is the budget build, right? Like at the most, you're spending maybe $180, and that's assuming your keycaps are actually more expensive than your keyboard, which in this case they are. So yeah, let's see what that sounds like, and let's hear that, that budget thock. And yeah, wow, this keyboard sounds really good. It is pretty thocky. It's kind of creamy. There's a little bit more clack due to the fact that these are just tactiles. I'm sure this would be thockier if these were linears, but I like the tactiles, and the person I'm building this for, I think she's going to enjoy having the tactiles more rather than linears. And yeah, it sounds really good. The keyboard looks fantastic. The color schemes actually worked out a lot better than I thought they would. The lilac case with the dark blue and then the koi colors, I think it just looks fantastic. And yeah, I mean, this keyboard, honestly, this kind of changes everything in my opinion. When it comes to budget, it's hard not to go with something like this, right? Because it's so cheap and it has so many things that higher end keyboards give you, right? Because if you look at like a Keychron V1, right? This is an $80 keyboard that is aluminum plate, tray mounted, right? And then comes with just their silicone. Like there's plate foam, but there's no PCB foam, right? And it's not gasket mounted, so like the typing experience is gonna be super stiff. Like you're going to get clack. The stabilizers are surprisingly not as good on the Keychron compared to this. Like the stock stabilizers before I even lubed them actually were pretty fantastic. So yeah, like if you're gonna start out with building a keyboard and you want a good budget 65%, like this is it. Like this is the keyboard that you should get. Like I can't really recommend anything else. It's just too good. Like really the main downside is taking it apart is kind of a pain because of that plastic case. But other than that, like once you build it the first time, like that's all you really need. Like you don't really need much else. So I hope you guys like this video. I hope you guys like this build. Definitely check out this keyboard on Amazon. It's in stock right now. If you're new to this channel and you're really interested in building your first keyboard but you don't want to spend that much money, like this is the keyboard to buy. This is the one that you want to get. Just do this, get some nice budget switches, right? Like the JWick tactile T1s are great for tactiles. You can also do the Akko like creamy yellows, I think is what they're called. Those are a great, you know, budget linear switch. Get yourself like a nice set of like $50 set keycap. You're set, right? Like you've spent $150 on a keyboard build. It's gonna sound awesome, it's gonna perform awesome, and it's light. You can take it anywhere. This is the one to get. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys on the next one.